Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our first episode of the Iconist podcast.
Warden first. Yo! Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome. I am one of the hosts here, so I am Barry 3D for Deep Dark Delicious. Hey.
Hey. And I go by the one by DJ Rod C. Wait. Rod C.
Oh, my God. Bayesians United.
Strong bloodline. Okay, cool. Let's go.
So just exactly. So just to kind of kick it back a little bit, so people, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. So here we go. You both know. So what I'm saying is, me, Rod, we're both cousins. Mm-hmm. Not my cousin. This is cousin by blood.
Real
comic book lovers, right?
Blood. Sorry.
And this, as I said, is the brand new Iconist podcast. So we're doing videos, and we'll have these videos transferred onto audio later on, so you can listen to them on our podcast channel. We're gonna have that started shortly. So just keep a lookout for it. Check the credits. I want to give a big shout out to Jay Bird Digital. He's the one that did all our graphics. So thank you, Jay. And we'll put up all our social media on that for the Iconist podcast. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. I have my website, barry3d.com. Mm-hmm. Rod, where we can find you?
Well, you can find me on where am I? I'm on IG, Mr. Rod C. I'm also on Facebook at DJ Rod C. You know what? So I'm just all over little places, you know? You can find.
So you're all over the little places. No matter what, you'll see our links individually. You'll see the link also for this page coming up. So thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, pass the word. And the Iconist podcast is, why Iconist? Because we are going to be talking about anything that's iconic. So I wanted a cool names, almost like a transformer name, Iconist, transform. We will be covering everything that's geek related, as I love to say. This is my passion. This is our passion. So if it's comic books, video games, TV, cartoons, anime, novels, the whole spectrum, the whole 9 yards, live, the whole 9 yards. At times we'll probably talk about music. We will talk about wrestling.
Wrestling. Oh, listen, we'll talk about TV, wrestling, movies, even fan art, fan stuff like that, comic
fan
expos
art,
and stuff like that.
Cosplayers, all that. We are going to show them a lot of love on the Iconist podcast. Sometimes we don't mention one, we will find one and still tag them on our IG page to just give a shout out to whoever we talk about. So each week we're going to come up with an episode, and we're going to find at least someone that meets that theme. And, we find cool. We're just going to give them a shout out, put them out there, tell them, say hi, hey, what's going on? Thank you for your service. So to kick it off, here it is. Iconist podcast number 1. And we are starting off with Batman Beyond. And reason why Batman Beyond is because a lot of people are talking about Batman. I know a lot of people have seen the Zack Snyder Justice League. A lot of people have your favorite Batmans. Everyone seems to forget one particular Batman, and I'll get back to him in a minute. One particular actor who does a really phenomenal job, but we'll touch on that near the end.
Got it.
But Batman Beyond, here's our mission statement. We're going to talk about him, give you a little bit of feedback on him, what's his world, what comes about him, what we like, and then we're going to cast him. We're going to pick which actor can play Terry McGinnis.
There you go.
Which actor can play Bruce Wayne? And I'm going to have my picks. Rod might have his picks, and we'll go back and forth. And if you got yours, please, Adam, send us some comments. Say what you got to say. Love to hear back from you. And away we go.
And here we go. All right.
So, what do you got to say, Rod? Batman Beyond. You've watched the show?
Yeah, I've seen the show. I've definitely watched the show. I'm definitely a fan. I love it. Definitely when it came into gear, it was one of those ones I think, okay, we got it. I was already a Batman anime, Justice League, Unlimited. So we've already know these are the criteria. These are the building blocks of what I love as Batman.
Right.
Batman Beyond. All right. We're gonna give you. See how you do. We're gonna see if you pass the grade. It passed the grade. Definitely because they were smart and said, you know what? Everywhere every city, every lifetime will lead a Batman. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna continue with the Batman that we know, Kevin Conroy. We're gonna bring Mr. Kevin, who's been a little bit older, a little hunchback, but he's still working the grounds.
Yeah.
So at least I'm happy that we have him in there. So I was happy with that type of transition, that you basically knew we had someone we were familiar with.
Yes.
And that we basically have our base off of, and we have the ability to say, okay, we're going to now introduce a new one, but we're not going to be just completely cold cut that you have no type of connection to the old. Basically letting us know this is in the same universe.
Right.
This is the continuum. Like there's no separate multi-universe, anything like that. A what if type of environment. This is basically the Batman we knew and loved is still there. Yes. He's passing on the torch.
Yes.
What will happen? And this is how it is when you have the new Batman taking the reins from the old.
Right. I get you. So exactly. See, and I was excited when I always like when they come up with an idea to say, hey, we're going to pass the torch on. We're going to bring it to this character. Mm-hmm. So I'll go into a couple of things. First, Bruce Timm, phenomenal. Mm-hmm. You know, it was Bruce Timm, him and that whole team that got together and put together, you know, obviously he did the Batman, the animated series. Right. That series, fire, right?
Yeah, of course.
Fire. Then it lead into Superman. You know, I think Superman, the animated series, underrated, but really good.
Yes.
Right? I'm just saying underrated. I'm not saying I don't like it. I love the series, bought it myself. Boom, fire. Going into Justice League with the 7, it really affirmative. I mean, DC really is strong when it comes to the animated series on TV. I think they do it a better job than Marvel at times. You know, and I'm not trying to say one's better than the other. I love them all, between Marvel, Image, DC, anything, independent, whatever. I love them all. You know, it's a great escape. So we have that. And then they did Justice League Unlimited.
Correct.
And what was really cool is at that time Justice League Unlimited was running, they started doing Batman Beyond. Right? And they started the Batman, and I saw the transition. Bruce Wayne, he's there. He's older. So what I liked is episode 1, you see Bruce Wayne as an older Batman, almost like the Dark Knight Returns kind of Batman, right?
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
So, you know, I'm not sure if he ever did the Dark Knight Return within that, when he was still running around as an older Batman in that costume, but he modified his costume to help him out because he realized he was getting older, right? Had that first mission, not his first mission, sorry. He had that last mission, his last official mission, right? In the new costume, where he was experiencing a heart attack while trying to save that girl that got kidnapped.
Right.
You know, and he pulled a gun. Like he knocked one of the guys out. He's shaking. He just grabbed the gun to get the guy to go back. And that's when he knew, oh my gosh, I've crossed the line.
Exactly.
Right. So, okay, still fast forward. He's gotten older. He's quit as Batman, you know, and they bring in Terry McGinnis. Mm-hmm. So Terry in high school, he's with his parents. Parents are separated. He's got a younger brother. You know, troubled kid. He's a little bit of a rebel.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a rebel. He's got his girlfriend. He's happy. Typical teenage angst.
That teen spirit. You know, he's having that teen spirit.
Smell that teen spirit. Yeah, I'm not going to sing. It's Nirvana. We all know. I can't sing. I'll do y'all the favor. You know, and then he turns around and, you know, as it comes out, he stumbles across, you know, in his own way, because he comes up with the Joker. So I like that the Joker himself has influenced a gang. Yes. So the Joker himself has gone passe, you know, as they never really touch on it, but you get the idea that, well, not in the beginning.
Right. In the beginning, never got realized that he was still alive or not. It just was just basically saying that the Joker gang was just influenced, like you said, from the Joker of days old. Yes. That's what it was. Right. So, yeah. Continue.
Right. So, Joker days old, got the gang. Okay, fine. So, it was a nice, you know, way how they kind of brought it about. And I think that those first 2-3 episodes really opened up to make fans say, hey, this is cool. The art style didn't change. So, it stayed the same with all the animated series from DC. So, that was consistency. The voice work, Kevin Conley still taking on that role as, you know, an older Bruce Wayne, right? Consistency. You know, familiar names were dropped, but they opened up that whole mythos to a whole bunch of future names. So one of my favorite episodes is, or I have a lot of them in this one. It's like I like the intro. I think that was well done. Then we keep going, and at one point you want to see crossovers. Like, when you get to future, you always want to see who else made it to the future.
Correct. Good move.
Right?
Good move.
Yeah. And then they brought in the Justice League of the future in a couple of episodes where he almost joined them. And it's like, okay, so we know the original Superman is still around.
Right.
Right? Never really heard what happened to Lois Lane. Not that I remember. You know?
No, I think they were just assuming because of Days of Age and everything like that.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? You're right. I don't think they've ever
pointed out really if she did pass away Lois. And if I'm wrong, hey, someone shoot me a message and say, hey, Barry, you missed this episode. I have them on DVD. Yeah. I'll go back and watch them. So I never heard him mention Lois Lane. You never see him go back to being Clark Kent. He's always just now being Superman.
Superman, yes.
Right. Or Kal-El as he goes by. And then you see other people in the Justice League, and they are mixes of past League members. It's either the son, daughter, you know, or there's some link to some of them that are there. Right. Yeah. Right? You know, you have Warhawk, and you find out in different episodes between Unlimited and Batman that Warhawk is the son of John Stewart Green Lantern and Hawker. Yeah. Right. You know, so I said when they brought in the Justice League, that was one of my favorite ones, right? I mean, outside of that, when they brought in Cobra, and not Cobra with a C from G.I. Joe, but Cobra with a K, you know, and the League of Assassins, or the League of Shadows as they call them. That was another fun episode I liked. When they brought in the Hunter, who was the African hunter who had like bionics and the spear, and he was hunting Terry down to figure out his identity. You know, another good episode, a great episode. And then one of my favorites, and I believe from right, it came out with not with Batman Beyond. I think it came out under Justice League, which was, it ties back. Yes, it was Justice League Unlimited. It was one of the last episodes if you get the DVD box set. So on the episode, it's a Batman Beyond episode because
I know which one you're going to. Yep.
Right. It's of course it's in the future, but more in the future. So Terry's gone from being a high school student now to he's a full out adult. He's debating if to propose to his girlfriend at the time, Dana. You know, they're all grown up, so he's a lot thicker. His hair's a little bit longer, so he's filled out. Bruce is still around, you know, still kicking. Well enough. Right? Well, yeah. Bruce is too stubborn to pass away, man.
I literally about to say, that man is stubborn to the very end.
Right?
His last breath was like, no, I still need you for another 5 minutes. Just don't go. Come back here. Yeah.
It's like, hey, Bruce, are you okay? You're on your deathbed. You had anything to say? I'm Batman. What? I'll be back. Like, I'm sure there's a storyline written out there somewhere that, you know, Bruce Wayne meets God, and it's like, well, Bruce, your time is up. I'm still needed. I'm Batman. Well, you know what, Bruce? Yes, you are. I'm going to give you another 5 years of life. That's all I need. I'm going to look for a loophole.
Yeah. The detective will do that.
Yes, right? So in that episode, you find out the whole time that Amanda Waller realized that the Justice League, the world, will always need a Batman.
Correct.
She makes a plan to turn around, you know, because she's like, well, Bruce was getting older, so he was leaving a lot of his DNA around at scenes, you know. So it was a fight scene.
It was never too hard to find DNA off of him. He's always all around, just bleeding up the place.
Well, that's it. You know what I mean? He's bleeding over here. Oh, a little bit of DNA. And, you know, a little bit of nanotechnology, some DNA. What we're going to do is like, okay, we're going to turn around and we're going to recreate Bruce Wayne under the same exact circumstances. You know, so she found a family that was having problems conceiving. Mm-hmm. She went there, put the little nanotechnology, whatever, in there. Mm-hmm. Yep. Get the turkey baster. Artificial insemination. Yep. She's pregnant, but she's not pregnant with her husband's DNA as they thought, because they thought they were using his. It was Bruce Wayne's DNA. So natural childbirth, she gave birth to Terry McGinnis. So in its own way, Bruce Wayne is not only the father figure, but he is the father.
Yes.
Terry McGinnis is like, biologically, it's like a Maury Povich show. It's like, Bruce, we ran the test.
You are the father.
You are the father. You know, it's like, well, okay, then, well, I already let him drive the car. Well, which car, Bruce? You're beyond rich. Which car? Lamborghini, Ferrari, you know, McLaren? No, the car. We'll leave it at that.
Right.
So it does that whole full episode. Full circle that, you know, it's nice. I mean, they were going one way where it seemed that he was going to be on his own. And then it came back that it was, you know, I mean, like he was a separate character. And then it kind of really solidified that tie. I think I just lost my other half. Gotta love technology. I'm going to keep on going till Rod comes back.
Going through the whole story. I don't know where you were, man. I don't know where you were. So I was like, I don't know. I paused to you, but you paused to me. But anyway,
we both paused. We both paused. I saw you pause. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep on talking. Maybe Rod will come back. I think I lost you again, brethren. Oh no. So,
but anyway,
we both keep freezing. See, you gotta love technology. Even though we're still working from home, there's jokes about that. Yeah. So
pure.
Right.
Go on.
So it comes back that, you know, they seem like they're making Terry his own character. I'm not sure if this is a long-term plan or not, but they're making him his own character. And then they kind of really said, well, you know, instead of him being totally separate, we want him to be more linked to Bruce than seeing Bruce Wayne as a father figure, because Terry's father passed away. If you want to see exactly what happened in the episode, go get it, stream it. You can find it. It's out there. You know, there's a lot of goodies and things in there. So those are some of my favorite episodes, along with the time traveling one where history was almost getting mixed up because Kronos had his time traveling belt and was changing everything every 2 seconds. So correct. In that episode,
that was unlimited. That was unlimited, right?
That was unlimited, but
unlimited. That was unlimited.
That was unlimited, but
it crossed over.
It crossed over. Hallelujah! It crossed over, and it was a nice crossover. So you had Terry, who had his little comic moment of Batman, meet Batman, Bruce Wayne, meet Bruce Wayne,
meet Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, shut up. Oh, what do I used to call that in stereo?
Yeah, exactly. And he goes, oh. You know, and that's where we saw, like, one of the few times you see they had Jon Stewart in there, and then because they had a blip, you know, it changed history. Then it was Hal Jordan showed up as a Green Lantern. It's like, don't worry, I've been briefed. I know what's going on. Let's go. I'm like, wow, efficient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Those are some of the episodes that popped out for me, man. What about yourself? Any episodes that come out?
You know what? I don't remember like episodes, but I do remember characters. Like, okay, Harley Quinn having her granddaughters, the twins.
Yes.
I've always liked that. Like, initially not knowing that they're actually connected. So it's like, okay, again, the Joker team is the Joker gang is being created. You have I don't remember his name, but at least the character that at least I had them bionic arm with a saw. That was cool. But then when you had the twins, I'm thinking, okay, we're used to one Harley. Now there's two of them. Oh, this is gonna be fun. So I loved it about that. You're right. Crowbar was another good one. But what I like the show in regards to showing. I would look at this, if anything, we could look at this like a futuristic Marvel spin-off of Spider-Man, because Terry had to learn how to balance his life.
Yes.
Have that work-life balance, and absolutely understand, like, okay, I'm going to be doing crime fighting. I got to make excuses like saying something got to go on. Yeah, I got to do that internship with Mr. Wayne. Yeah, I'll be back. What I got to do? Start flying out and do what he got to do. Come back. Dan is like saying, so where were you, honey? Yeah, I was doing that thing for Mr. Wayne. So yeah, that just took me over for the rest of the night. I'm sorry, baby. Let's go get some pizza. And I'm like, this guy is really trying to juggle life and try to save the world. And I definitely like that, because to my recollection at that time, and even now that I go back to it, I don't recall too tough if there were any other DC characters that did, like, their whole theme was like that. Because I couldn't think off the top of my head. Like, while I was just researching, right, thinking about the show and everything like that, and you're just kind of like brought that back to my mind. Yeah, I'm realizing I don't think there was any like that had that him as a young person, because again, Terry at that time, he was still in high school. So we're looking like end of high school type of scenario. So we're going to say I'll be nice and, give him like 17, 18 type of scenario. He was like, he wasn't like the jock of the school type of scenario, but he was still decent enough that he was still recognized as popular. Yeah, he was popular and everybody liked him and everything along that line, He was good. He was good with people. But, that's where the flip side of Peter Parker was in high school. But the understanding that he had to be there for his brother, a.k.a. like Aunt May. And his brother and mother, a.k.a. Aunt May type of scenario. Have to do with school, have a girlfriend.
Yep.
He didn't have a job, but his job per se was Bruce Wayne. So he had to filter that in. He had to filter that in, that kind of lifestyle. So
and that's what Lucky, I think that's what saved him, right? And you're right. So a lot of the younger heroes, I mean, a lot of more established heroes, you have like, say, Superman, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Superman will turn around and he will be at his job, and maybe Lois knows his secret, so she'll help cover for him at one point. Yep. But even prior to that, he wasn't dating Lois for many years when he was Superman. Right. So his parents were back in Smallville. He's in Metropolis. Mm-hmm. So his work and Superman. He was able to get more excuses and he had more flexibility because his job was a reporter. So it's like, where you going? Oh, there's a story breaking. I'll be right back. Oh, I gotta go follow up a lead. So he always had a way out, right? What was smart with giving Terry a part-time job with Bruce Wayne? First of all, Bruce Wayne got buku bucks. I mean, major ducats, dollars, more money. So first of all, he's Bruce Wayne. He's got Bruce Wayne money. Literally, people, you heard the expression all the time. Got Bruce Wayne money. So if you got Bruce Wayne money and you're working for Bruce Wayne, whatever you need to get paid, you get paid. Like I don't think Terry ever had an issue money-wise or credits, as they would call them in the series, right? Because when he got paid, I'm sure Bruce would, whatever. And then he actually became his excuse, like a couple of times where, Terry was out all night long and he was getting in trouble with his mom. And Bruce was like, don't worry about it. And then next thing you know, he's coming home, he's like, man, I'm going to get grounded, right? And sure enough, who was there at his house? Bruce Wayne.
Right. I talked to your mother and we organized this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll make sure he's on top of his homework and stuff like that. And we know Bruce is tough.
Right.
But smart.
Yeah, because he understands you have to have that duality of life. He has to have that type of alibi for doing his type of actions. So definitely Bruce was definitely there to make sure that, okay, I know this kid is going to need this type of alibi. Say you're with me, whatever the case it be. Money-wise, again, people know that he's there. So you can really understand that his friends know that Terry was never flaunting like he had money, but they knew he was well taken care of. He never had it seem like, okay, you know what, I'm struggling. Could you cover for pizza for here or whatever the case to be? It's like, no, don't worry. I got it. I got it.
He bought Dana nice presents, which was his girlfriend. He went out with his friends. There was Max who helped him out at time. Terry established his own character, and even Bruce was like, and that was the good thing about Bruce. Bruce Wayne as a character, how they wrote him, made sense to me because he went through trying to have a love life, right? But he's always, it's the mission. He went through with young wards. At this point, there's Dick Grayson, there's Jason Todd, there was Damian, there was Tim Drake.
Yes.
Right. There's right, and there's a couple one in the comic book.
There's Barbara. Barbara wasn't his ward, but Barbara was part of the Bat family.
Exactly. But I'm talking like wards, like young kids, right? So if you want to look at it, and if you want, I'm not sure if they ever touch on it. I don't think they ever touched on it in the series, but in the comic book, there's others. There was Stephanie Brown, right, who took up the mantle of Robin. She used to be Spoiler, and then she took up the mantle of Robin. And then there was Kelly, I'm forgetting her last name, who was his Robin in The Dark Knight.
Yes.
The Dark Knight Returns.
The redhead. Yes.
Right. So he's used to having young kids. He knows how it's going to be being a child, not a child, sorry, a young adult out there, and what's going to call and pull to them. Maybe not so much of what's going to pull to him. So there's like I said, one of my all-time favorite villains in this series to me was the Royal Flush Gang. I like the Royal Flush Gang from day one when they first made their appearance, and people thought they were associated to Joker back in the comic book and all that. So when they finally brought in the Royal Flush Gang and they did them justice, with King and Queen and Jack and Ace and Ken, And when he started having that flirtatious thing with 10, because him and Dana were having issues and they almost kind of broke up, you know, he was almost drawn to that. And I remember the episode where he goes in and he's like, Bruce, have you ever had an issue where you kind of started liking someone who was kind of a villain, but they might have changed? And he was like, oh, let me tell you about Catwoman. Yeah, but he didn't scold him for it.
Right.
He tried to warn him. The episode went. He goes, okay, you lived, you learned. Case closed. Let me tell you about Catwoman. And we all know as fans watching, it's like, Catwoman. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got this. You've had your ups and downs with Catwoman, you know, throughout the years, no matter what thing it's been. There's always been this flirtatious line that's been underneath there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with all of that, it really brought in, as I said, characters. It gave us, you know, people might not remember him. It was, there was an assassin in there, a robot assassin. He had his own series for like 2 seasons. Project, oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget his name. I'll have to look it up and figure it out. But he was a robot, not even like a cyborg or anything. He was a pure out robot. Zeta, that's it. It was a cartoon called the Zeta Project, which was a spin-off of Batman Beyond. You know, and that was another fun one. We might touch that later on another time. But you know, so my whole thing about it was great. I enjoyed it. I think as a future character, is someone that he's established to the point where he was created originally for TV. So there's only another character like that in that mythos so far that's in that kind of same genre that got really popular. And that was Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn never existed in a comic book.
Right.
She was created by Bruce Timm and the team. Just for the animated series. And look how she's taken off now. That character. Yeah. She's gone from, you know, started off in the series and they weren't sure how often to bring her back, to now Harley Quinn is, you know, in Suicide Squad 1 and 2. She was in Birds of Prey. You know, she's there's a Harley Quinn TV.
I'm about to say, the Harley Quinn
animated series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's everywhere. And I think Batman Beyond, you know, Terry McGinnis Batman needs to get that same justice. Like so far, we've seen him in the TV show. He had it multiple seasons, right? Mm-hmm. Good with that. Then they had the miniseries comic book. Then they gave him his own regular comic book series, and that comic book series is fire.
Right.
Like you can't get a bad issue about it, especially when you get later on where he's dealing with different multiverses. There's time travel where he goes back and sees his dad before his dad dies. There's Dick Grayson comes back.
Yes.
You know, and Dick Grayson has a daughter, but Dick Grayson comes back and starts training Terry because the storyline, Bruce goes missing. They think Bruce is dead, or Bruce is in a coma. He gets killed. So Dick Grayson comes back, and he's missing an eye. It's almost like he's a Dick Grayson / Nick Fury.
Nick Fury. He'll be Slade Wilson. Basically, he's coming in to be Slade Wilson.
Right.
He can be, you know, the Red X. Was it Red X?
Yeah, right.
Red X. Yeah, exactly.
X.
He'd be considering himself a Red X. The future is. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Listen, I will even add to that because to me, Batman Beyond definitely should have its own. Like we should be like reintroducing it back to this generation. That's for one. And I will completely agree and say this, that I was quite happy, kind of touching back to that Unlimited episode when they went into the future.
Right.
So now you're seeing Terry as a full-grown man. He is now not a child.
No.
Not even saying full-grown. He is now in his mid-20s, late 20s. He's still. So it's basically showing to me that we have Warner Brothers, you know, the whole mindset is that when future Bruce Wayne passes away, you clearly know that this mantle can easily be placed upon Terry McGinnis because now he's a full-grown. He has the years of experience. He has the years of training with Bruce. He has the connections with the Justice League, future Justice League, Superman, and all those type of actions that he's been through. Because again, what I loved about it is that it wasn't showing like that Terry went to look to find out about his father's past. I mean, about his family past by Amanda Waller. Too soon after Batman Beyond finished. This was showing that it was later on. So this
Yes.
is years after. So again, it's just showing that they've been still working together for so long, building Terry to be a person that when they decide to come back and just say, we're going to do a futuristic, or we're going to carry on the continuum of the timeline of Batman Beyond with an older Terry McGinnis, it makes complete sense. We have enough back history to say that we did his early days. We now have one episode to say that he now understands where he is, especially at the end of that day, when he ended that episode, when he realized, like, I'm stubborn. Yeah, you're stubborn. Yeah, I'm stubborn like my old man. Letting him understand and accepting the fact that Bruce Wayne is his father.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I'll say this before we try to cast it. So my last point is, the only thing I don't get is, in the comic books, if you read the comic books, everyone was always hinting, is there going to be a Robin Beyond, right? You know, is Terry McGinnis going to actually take up the mantle of being Robin? And then you had his buddy Maxine. So people thought that she might have been Robin. They said, no, she's definitely not Robin. And when you watch this series, she takes on more of that role as Oracle, right? His tech backup. Okay, fine. But he has a younger brother. And that's the only thing I'm unclear about. So if his parents had problems conceiving, right? We know that, you know, he got the DNA from Bruce Wayne into his mom. And Amanda Waller was thinking about, oh, well, maybe I should have his father and his mom killed off the same way Bruce's was. And then she sat there and was like, no, that's too cold. I can't. Even Amanda Waller went, okay, that's too rough. And she stopped that plan. Even though because she really wanted to orchestrate it.
She wanted to orchestrate it, but that, as that episode goes, it was Barbara who was basically setting herself up at the Phantom to actually mimic the whole procedure. And at the last minute, she made the decision. She argued with Amanda to say it made no sense that in true heart, Batman is really, what makes him special is his heart, his compassion for humanity versus the actual tragedy that created who he is.
Yes.
So Amanda said, that's why she said during that episode, and it's funny that even before we even discussed that we're going to have this episode, I know I just literally saw that episode maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I came across that episode again online and watching it, and it was so fresh in my head. So Amanda said she understood and she agreed that the tragedy of trying to putting that boy through that probably would not make him who he is.
No, exactly. So even Amanda Waller, who runs the Suicide Squad, Task Force X, that was too dark for her.
Right. She's like, okay, all right, I'll accept that.
Right.
We won't go back again. Yeah.
Well, that's it. So my question is his younger brother also related to Bruce?
No, you know what? Here's a thought on that. Thought on that. And I mean, we're going to definitely
hit me.
You brought a good point and reminding that the parents had a problem, that had an issue conceiving. Now, I'm going to go that if I'm going to go with today's technology or just in that mindset, that if you had a problem once, there's a high roller chance you will still have that problem. You know, unbeknownst to them, that they had an extra boost. You know, they had an extra Wayne technology, Catamus, Waller touch up in there. That happened once. They may have tried again afterwards and got nothing. And that's also, if you look at it, look up the age difference between Terry and his brother. Yeah. It's not like it's 2 or 3 years. It's easily the brother, if I remember correctly, he was still young. Like, and if I'll be nice and give him 10, 11, I'll
that
pop
makes
it
sense
up
to
at
me.
12. You know what I mean? So it's easily, again, a good 5-7 years of difference. I'm going to be nice and give it in that range. So Amanda could have probably done this. This is beautiful. Now, this would be perfect. I swear, this would be perfect if they, not to redo the same script or the same idea, if they ever come up with doing a new Batman Beyond, older version. Amanda basically says something, or Terry had the insight, but he's like saying, you're not as smart of a detective as Bruce is, but you have his heart. You have his heart. So if 2 and 2 come together, Terry realized, wait a minute, if this is what you did to get me into this world, how did my brother get into this world? Did you go and find, does that boy have the DNA of a certain Richard?
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm not gonna say the name. I'm just gonna just leave it float. Just Richard.
Yes.
I'm not going to say the word.
There. It's in the ether. It's in the
ether. But I'm not going to, because technically he's still alive.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And if you read the books, if you read the books, right? So in the books, they do make his younger brother Robin. In the books, Damian Wayne is still alive, but he went back to the League of Shadows, and he's pretty much running that.
Right.
So we know in the future, Dick Grayson's still alive, Damian Wayne is still alive, and Tim Drake is still
alive.
Still alive, right? Barbara Gordon's still there because Barbara Gordon is the new commissioner.
Yeah.
She's a commissioner.
Yes.
And I'll say this, before we kind of move on, I like the fact that they really showed a mix of characters, relationships within the series, right? So, for example, Barbara Gordon and her husband, who was clearly black, she's a commissioner, he was a lawyer, right? That was nice to put out there on TV and for everybody to see. Maxine, okay, yes, she was black. His girlfriend Dana was Asian, right? I like that they actually made a mix, like a racial mix in the future,
right?
With all these characters. It wasn't these stereotypical, okay, they're all white and then there's a couple of pops. Right. No, they were people that held important roles within the series. That's what was cool. They just weren't like, oh yeah, we just passed somebody. No. Like Dana, he's white male going out with an Asian woman. He's got a best friend who's fully black. Barbara is in an interracial marriage. I thought it was very realistic. It was more realistic show wise as a cartoon that I've seen in a lot of years, obviously, right? So yeah, I got a lot of love for that. So what's your point?
I would just say that I definitely agree with you on that. I definitely agree with you on that. And I look at it as well as even if you step outside the box, the whole city and certain things that they were doing, even back to the Joker gang, there was a hyena. Remember, they were basically into very, not even saying crossbreeding, but that type of genetic type of manipulation was definitely during that time. So you would now think, okay, if it's now commonplace that you can see a hybrid guy, man, animal walking around, and it's like, okay, that's plausible. It's happening. So having different genres, different races now intertwining very regularly, it goes back to what you were saying, that they've basically from the beginning made sure that could be like an underlined comfort zone mindset that they put out there, so you don't feel kind of like, oh, I just saw, Barbara's husband he's African American, he's black, and his best friend is black, and his girlfriend is Asian, but then we can accept a villain who is half hyena, whatever the case may be, a man who has a robotic arm, and it's just naturally like these are the genetics. No shock value.
It's supposed to be that's all it's supposed to be in life. No shock value. It's all about love. So I'm gonna ask you a question. So here's my thing, right?
Cool.
If you had to cast a live person, a living person to do, like an HBO Max series or a movie as Bruce, Terry, anyone else that you could think of. We're sticking really with Bruce and Terry. Yeah. Who would you go with? Who would be your Bruce Wayne?
Okay, so I mean, I actually thought of this, and it's like, it's. I know we've always had these kind of conversations. We try not to go with someone who is so generic in the sense that it's there.
Right, but this time it's open everything, right?
I know it's open, but it's hard for me not to see. It's like the fly going away from the light, but you just keep coming back. Like, I gotta come back. So for Bruce Wayne,
yes,
I have to say Michael Keaton. It's hard not to.
Don't apologize.
It's not. It's hard not to, and especially when I've heard when he did Spider-Man and when he was in his Vulture outfit, and I heard that supposedly it's alleged that when he's underneath the mask, he's flying around. What?
He says it all the time.
Michael, what are you saying? That's not the line for the script. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Spider-Man. Peter, take care of my daughter. What? Yeah. Listen, I heard that. I was internally weak, and I'm like saying, Michael, you're still the dawn of life. The dawn of life. I'm like, yo, golf clap all the way. So I was good with that.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100% on that one, because I was looking at it and, okay, first of all, the fans would love it.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Michael Keaton himself would love it.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Michael Keaton went up and he got an award, he got like a degree at a university. He gave a speech. And after the whole speech, you could find it online. After he's given the whole speech, broad daylight with everybody, he goes, everyone, of the graduating class, right? Outdoor, how they do it in the States. He goes, I have just one thing to say. Thank you very much for all this. And, all the positive speech. I go, one thing to say, and one thing only. Before you leave here today, know this. I'm Batman. And he walked off.
Done. Mic drop, walk away.
Lost it.
Close the sheets, we're done. Close the blinds, we're done. Just set the
down.
Photo on fire.
We're done.
Set the photo on fire. It's done.
It was done. It was done. It was. Yeah. See, so absolutely, Michael Keaton, 100% as Batman. I mean, he's aged well. He's got the grit. Come on, bring back the OG. That. So that's, to me, that's choice absolutely number one.
Listen,
right?
It'll be way past insane if WB decide to go down that road and decide not to make that turn towards Michael Keaton's house, pick up the phone number to call it. It makes no sense. Like you will lose, especially if someone got wind that, you know what, we had Michael on the table and we just decided not. You decided not to.
Okay,
do what?
WB does some stupidness. Okay, because right now they're planning on bringing for the upcoming Flash movie, right? It's supposed to be doing Flashpoint, and they were talking about bringing in, so Ben Affleck's supposed to take up the role as Batman again, right? And then with Flashpoint, Flash does what he's got to do, and the story is written that Michael Keaton was supposed to be in there as Batman again, right? Yeah. But now there seems to be kind of disputes that he's going to be too busy around the time they want to start filming. He's not sure. Michael Keaton's waiting to look at his schedule, and he's waiting for the final draft to make sure that if he comes back, he's going to do it right. So that's what's kind of on the table. I'm thinking WB, like Warner Brothers, really, what you guys do what you need to do. Listen. There's only one other person that they can do, and that's Kevin Conley. Kevin Conley has done the voice for Bruce Wayne and Batman from day one, 20 plus years. The only time he showed up and did it live action was when it was the CW Crisis of Infinite Earths. And fans lost it. Like, some people were looking and didn't know. It was like, oh, okay, so this guy's Bruce Wayne. We don't get it. He was Batman. We don't get it. When he had the exoskeleton on and all that, like Kingdom Come, Kingdom. Sorry. And I'm thinking, you all don't know. I sat there with some people. They're like, okay, Barry, why are you freaking out? I'm like, that's Kevin Conley. They're like, okay, who? I'm like, when you watch the animated series and when you play Arkham Asylum and you play all those games and anything Batman related
in the early 90s.
90s to now, 20-something years, he's been doing that voice steady. It's only a couple of times he hasn't done that voice.
Right. There's a couple of people in the last, that's what I'm saying, in the mid or early 2000s on, there's been a couple of videos, that this didn't happen. But the majority of the chunk of it is Kevin.
95%.
Kevin.
Easy. And if they didn't get him,
that's who they got to base it off.
They didn't have the budget, or he was sick, or I don't know, 97%. This man was. So if they can't get Keaton, you got to get Conley.
Yeah,
that's who it is for me first and foremost. Now, if you had who would your pick be for Terry McGinnis? Now, this is where it's gonna get interesting.
Right. So I will admit that I was initially trying to think of. I was thinking of a young person. I was trying to go from, let's say, if we were doing it straight from now.
Okay.
But I couldn't really find anybody that piqued me in that time frame, in that age bracket. So I had to go into like the Unlimited, an older Terry.
Okay.
So with that now,
okay,
I chose to go with Robbie. Let me see, Robbie Amell. Right.
The brother of the guy who played Arrow on CW.
Right. Well, He was Arrow. This is Firestorm.
Yeah, that's what I said. So he played Firestorm, right? In Flash, right? But he's that's his brother, right? So the one who plays Arrow, right? That's his brother, Robbie.
Right.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. I can
see him because again, Terry still has to be strong and very have that confidence. And again, he was very strong and confident when he was when he was Firestorm, and playing that. Then he's done some movies that I've seen that he played with his brother, and they did he's physical. He's got the physical aspect to it. He's absolutely okay. All right. So I gotta come back and tump you, boy. Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Well, in actuality, I'm just checking because that's what I think it was. It's actually his. They say it's his first cousin. Mm-hmm. They're not brothers. They're actually cousins.
Oh, the cousins.
They're
okay.
Like you and I.
Oh, okay.
First cousins.
Hey.
Yeah,
What? Strong bloodline.
There you go. So, but here's another thing. Have you ever seen Upload? Oh my gosh, on Amazon, it's Upload. I keep saying Uploaded.
Yes.
Because of like, I personally on the sideway, I can't wait for the second season for that to come out, but I'm still waiting for that.
Fire.
But how he was in that show, he basically, you can see his comical chops, he's very compassionate and stuff like that. Again, that's where, as per Amanda was saying, you may not have had Bruce's detective mindset, but you had his heart. You got to be that compassion and being good with people. I can see that there. So that's why I would go with Robbie Amell.
Okay. All right. Okay. I see that. I see where you're going. So I'm going to tump you because I'm confident in my choice. I'm confident in my choice.
Let's see what
I'm going to say a name and then we'll explain who he is, what he's done, and why my man fits. I'm going with Leo Howard. So Leo. I know y'all look at me going, who the heck is Leo Howard?
Take it in.
All right. So Leo Howard has been in acting for years. Mm-hmm. If you watch the Disney show called Kicking It, which was a martial arts show, right?
Oh!
Okay. You know him because he's the only one that has a mole on each cheek. Cute little kid, long hair, a mole on each cheek, and he's a martial artist.
Right.
I'm not done yet. I'm about to go to church. So Leo Howard was on the TV show Kicking It. In the first G.I. Joe movie, he played young Snake Eyes. Right? When Snake Eyes was a kid and he was caught stealing and he breaks into the dojo and then him and young Storm Shadow are fighting. That's Leo Howard. Hold up, not done yet. Taking you to church. That was the sermon. He starred in 2011, I think the movie was. 2011 in Conan the Barbarian, playing a young Conan. So in 2011, Jason Momoa played Conan the Barbarian. Movie was pretty good. It might have been great, but it was way better than you would think. I would love to see Jason Momoa come back to do a part 2 to it now. In there, Leo Howard played a young Conan. And if you watch the scene he does when the village gets, when he's out there and he's the smallest out of all these other guys. They're trying to do this trial or whatever. And he gets jumped. So all the other guys run away. All the other teenagers run away. He stays there and starts fighting these guys from a rival tribe by himself. No weapons. He starts taking them down. He gets a bone and stabs someone with the bone. It's a graphic scene, but this kid goes bananas. Like he's got the physique. He's got the look, right? If you see the TV show Kicking It, he's got a sense of humor. He's got the timing. I think he's on an NBC show right now. And to keep in mind, I know people are going to come up and say, Barry, you're crazy, right? Because right now he's 23 years old. Okay.
Right.
Okay. But I'm still thinking not the older.
You were thinking the younger.
I'm thinking younger, and I'll tell you why.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because he can play a high school student because he looks young. He's in shape. He looks young. He can do all the physicality. He's got the fighting stance. This would be a cakewalk. I mean, if you did Snake Eyes, you can definitely do Batman. You can do Terry McGinnis. And before people say, well, Barry, he's a little bit too old to do a high school student. Then if he's too old to do it, so's Tom Holland. Because Tom, who plays Spider-Man, is a high school student and he's 24. So he's a year younger, right? So if Tom can play a high school student, then Leo can play a high school student, right? You could just say he's in grade 12, ready to graduate, and this is when all this stuff happens. You know what I mean? Or last year of high school, and this is when all this stuff happens. I've seen students before they graduated in high school. Let me tell you something, man. They look like they're about to go from high school to the WWE. So he can do it.
Just saying.
I'm just saying. Testify.
Oh boy.
Thank you. I'll pass around the plate for donations. So that's who it is. To me, Michael Keaton, Leo Howard, or Kevin Conley and Leo Howard. But Leo Howard is my first and primary choice. I thought about Tyler Lautner, who was, from Sparkly Vampire movies. We all,
Yes, yeah. I was, yeah. But...
Right? Once again, I've seen some of his solo movies. It might not have been big.
Maybe that's why.
Right? But once again, he's a full accomplished martial artist, used to do competitions. He's not an overly tall person, so he's got the dark hair. Tyler Lautner, he would be my second choice to play Terry. First choice though, Leo. Give me my boy with my dimples. Two little moles. They're distinctive. You look up Leo Howard, you can't miss him. If you watch any scenes with Leo Howard, this to me, he screams Terry McGinnis. And and the whole beauty of this is even though he's known, he's not like well known. So taking someone like that and giving him the chance, he's going to put that extra oomph on it to solidify that role for himself. And if you give it to a big name star who's going to come in there and say, well, I'm so-and-so, everyone knows who I am, and then just kind of waltz through it. No, he's going to go into it, and he's going to go into it hard. Yeah. Okay. That's all I got to say.
Sounds like a plan. No, that sounds good. I definitely, I do like your choice. I definitely making the connection that from kicking it. As soon as you say kicking it, I realized, crap. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, come on. He was okay. He wasn't kicking it. He was young Snake Eyes. He was young Conan.
Right. It's hard to come against that. So, I mean, I can say both of our choices definitely have some merit.
Yes.
And let's, I guess we're gonna have to make we're gonna have to do this thing where we do this. I'm just coming off the top of my head because unbeknownst to you guys, we've done this stuff before where we had who was it that which one, like I can't remember which comic one that we put together. We said and it actually was
okay. So that was okay. So give you all a quick flashback. So years ago we were doing another show. We called it Out the Box Fancast, right?
Yeah.
And we might re-release those episodes just for the fun of it. And it was about maybe 5-6 years ago we were doing that one.
Yeah.
And I called out, and we were talking about this and we discussed it, and we called out Alan Rickson to play Hawk in the Teen Titans live action show. I mean, we said if they had to do Hawk and Dove, we cast who would be Hawk, and we cast who would have been Dove, and we both said, okay, Alan, and we talked about it, we agreed on it, and sure enough, today, Alan was picked as Hawk for Teen Titans on HBO, and we called that out way before they even, and it's like, oh, you heard about when they were talking about, they weren't even talking about a Teen Titans show.
No thoughts at all.
No thoughts at all. We were kind of casting it as a true Hawk and Dove series, nothing even to do with Titans. So I'll probably put that up on the channel so you guys can hear it. We might go back and revisit that again, seeing how he is. But that is it for us here.
Mm-hmm.
I am once again Barry 3D. Thank you for tuning in.
I go by DJ Rod C. That's who I be.
Hey, this is the brand new episode 1 of the Iconis podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Once again, please like, subscribe, share. Share. And I said, Iconis. So that's the ICONIS. Yes, that's how we do it. The Iconis podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. That was my job.